wherever you are in the world. It's a nice day, whether it's morning or afternoon or evening. I'm excited to talk to you today. The animals were gathering way ahead of time to uh, talk about uh, coming into our homes, coming into our lives, and joining everything that we do and also contributing to our lives like they do. So this is sort of an exciting show, and from wherever you are in the world, welcome. And if you're new, extra welcome. I hope you enjoy it. We're always glad to have new people come in. New animals will bring you here, and if you have been here before, welcome back. I'm glad to see you. So today, like I said, I wanted to talk about, and animals wanted to talk about how you know if you're ready for a new pet. How do we figure that out? Well, first of all, you're going to hear me always say you don't figure anything out. It's it's always coming through the heart, and that's your best guidance. And your heart is your psychic center. So, as you're coming into the room, I want you to be thinking about how the animals have come into your life. Um, what were the circumstances? Were you going out looking or did they just show up? So I have some people coming in. It's really good to see you all. Patty, good to see you. And Deanna, she says barking morning here, but we are all here. Yes, I had to close the door just in case the girls decided to get a little action going with their little squeaky barks. Um, and hello, Pamela. Everyone blessings. And Marianne, oh, it's good to see you. I'm so glad you're catching it. And you told Lily. Yeah, Lily was like, you got to get here. We got to talk about this. And Joanna, I am really glad you're here as well. So, I had somebody reach out and tell me that they didn't ever go looking for pets. Their pets found them. And so they never thought about being ready. They were just like automatically ready, whether it's kind of like ready or not, here I come. That's a lot of what has happened in my life where I've been guided to find animals and they have presented themselves so that I would see them. Literally, even if they ran in the middle of an intersection, and they wish they have. So, yes, circumstances, as Connie says, orchestrate things a lot of times. But, even as we're thinking about this, even if it's a sort of a special delivery and pop up pet that comes into your life, even that had guidance to it and was orchestrated in some way. A lot of times it challenges our ability to be flexible, right? I mean, I have had that too, where I was like, I was not ready for this, and here you are. Marge, good to see you. Bridget, I'm glad to be you're here. Welcome, welcome. And Kim, yes, this is my first live. Welcome. And I've been watching your podcast since I tragically lost my precious Lenny, to pancreatitis. And I'm certain I caused it. Oh, let's see, I can't read some of this. Hang on, let me see if I can move it just a tad so I can see. Ah, lost my first on Groundhog Day to pancreatitis. I'm certain I caused without thinking. Oh, you know, a lot of times circumstances around when they leave, it just it takes a minute to unpack that. And I have a special guest here today that's going to help us do just that because she experienced that very thing. So, Kim, hopefully in our talk, you can receive some insight, some clarity, some healing, and leave with a more peaceful heart. And Laurie says, my pets always came into my life on their own. Yeah, we're sometimes on a need to know basis here. Carla says, trying to be lighter to receive signs, but I'm not seeing them. Well, first of all, Carla, stop saying I'm not seeing them. There's your problem right there. You're blocking it. And Judy says, my two girls just showed up. Yes, you wouldn't believe the number of animals that have shown up before this live. So it's a good thing we all are here because it's just time we get together, they say. So I want you to meet my guest. This is Jennifer, and she has willingly come on to share her story and to share that very question, am I ready for a new pet? And welcome, Jennifer. I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about your situation and what has brought you to this moment.
Well, I have a dog currently. Her name is Gladys. She's an American Staffordshire Terrier mix. She's 12 years old, and she was 4 months old when I first saw her, but we didn't adopt her until she was 10 months old. I had a dog before Gladys. His name was Harry. He was my soul dog. I could understand his barks like a mom knows baby's cries. I
Oh.
knew exactly what he wanted when he wanted it, and he was pretty, vocal. Um, he he was, I adopt this is Harry. I adopted him, at 10 weeks old, and the rescue I got him from had some foster dogs, and what I would do is I would bring Harry to get the foster dogs adjusted, and Gladys happened to be one of those foster dogs. So he played with Gladys from the time she was 4 months old until we adopted her at 10 months old, and it wasn't planned at all. I didn't plan on adopting Gladys. A friend of mine said, "They get along so well," and she brought Gladys over to my house for a play date, and then my son was snuggling with her, and she goes, "Up, you're gonna have to adopt her now." And no and we did because it was just the puzzle piece that was missing in the puzzle, and it just worked out great. This is my Gladys. Um,
Oh.
so Harry passed away 2 years ago, and, um, we it was not a something we were expecting. It was very tragic. But we thought that maybe Gladys would like all the attention once he passed because Harry was very in your face, look at me, I'm in charge, kind of a thing. And not in a bad way. He was just very uh had a big presence. And Gladys always kind of took the back seat. So we thought, well, now she's the star and she has the time. But she cries a lot at night.
Can I interrupt just a minute so you can I feel I'd like to know more if you're open to sharing, um, w I know it was tragic and and what you went through is from then to now, which has been 2 years, has been quite a process, hasn't it?
Yes.
Now, can you talk a little bit about that day or anything about it to share?
Um, that day, it was a kind of a crazy day. It was a good day. We had our daughter was going back to college, and we did a special meal for her, and we had dessert, which we normally don't do. And it was funny because my dogs were looking at us like, "Hey, we want something." And Harry I knew what Harry would he would talk with me, so he would look at the treats and come back and look at the treats and come back, and I'm like, "Do you guys want dessert too?" So I gave them, pork chomps, which is something they've had before, but this particular pork chomp had nubs on the end instead of a long, straight, uh, roll, and, my daughter and my husband went to the airport, and my son and I were home, and, all of a sudden, Harry came walking to me, and I could see him foaming at the mouth, and I thought he had just pork chop slobber on his face, but I noticed something wasn't right, and, he was starting to get, like, wobbly, and I'm like, "Oh my god, he's choking." So, I I tried everything I could possibly do that I knew at the time to get this thing out of his mouth. I had shoved my hand as far as I could in his mouth, but the pork chop was slobbery and slippery, and I couldn't grab it, and I had bruises up to my wrist trying to grab this thing out of his mouth. Sorry.
But
Uh,
that's yeah, it's hard. Take your time.
so we my sister is a vet nurse, and she lived out of state, and I was screaming for help because I was outside. Not one neighbor showed up, not nobody, and it was very
Yes.
scary. My son heard me, came flying out. It's like, "What's the matter?" I said, call your aunt." And so he did, and she kinda walked us through what we should do, but his tongue was turning blue. I knew he had very little air getting to him, so he wasn't going to make it. But we were able to get him into the minivan we have, and, we were doing, CPR on him, and I was doing it at first, and I gave it and then I had my son do it because I had to drive. And I kept telling my son, "If something happens, it's not your fault, it's his time." And I kept praying to Arch I'm a big Angel fan, so I was praying to Archangel Metatron to warp time, to let me get through every green light so I can get to the hospital on time. I got through every green light, which I am very grateful for, but it wasn't enough time, and even if it was, his tongue was already blue, so I knew it wouldn't be the same Harry. Um, they grabbed Tim brought him in, and he had passed, and, it was just such a whirlwind, and it was so I was like,
I'm shocked.
I was in shock because he was fine, totally fine before, and then this, it was so fast. Um, I told him how much I loved him, I called him my sunshine, and his nickname was Pudge, because when he was a puppy, he was this roly-poly pudgy puppy, and, so I used to call him Puppy Pudge, and then it just became Pudge, and, anyway, I told him to go see, Milton, which was my son's lizard, who had passed the year before, so it was, like, fresh, all these things were happening. Milton died right around Christmas, Harry died around Easter. It was it was hard, like, holidays are starting to get hard, and,
Yes.
it it was really crazy how I I knew he was gonna be okay, and I knew he was in heaven because his soul is perfect, you know, why wouldn't it be? He'd be in heaven, but it was very hard to come back home and try to tell Gladys he's gone because she
Mhm.
didn't see what happened, it was so quick. Because I told my son to put Gladys in her crate and let's go because we gotta get to the hospital. Um, my son and I both had PTSD. Luckily, he got help through therapy, and weirdly enough, I got help through tarot. I did a tarot card spread that, you talk to your significant other, your loved one in heaven, and then an angel, and you go through the cards, and the first angel that comes up, that's the messages you'd be getting from, and it happened to be Metatron. And significator cards that I used for Milton and also for my nephew Joey, who told Harry to go play with, came up. And the messages were like, I'm okay, things are good, keep moving on. You have a lot to do. And, and it was such an uplifting thing for me. I was like, oh my God, he's fine. What am I worried about? I don't know why that was such a switch that flipped for me because I was a wreck. I couldn't watch certain TV programs. There was a interview with Jeremy Renner that my husband and I wanted to watch, and the beginning of it, I'm like, "Turn it off, turn it off, turn it off." It just triggered something in me. Had nothing to do with animals, nothing to do with dogs, but it just triggered me, and then I had to step aside from it. I did the I did the card spread, then I was like, "Okay, we can watch it now." It was so weird. I really can't explain that, but, I just knew he was okay, and when my son and I would go outside, I would tell him, "Talk to Harry, talk to him, look for signs," and as soon as I said that, this gray pigeon flew right behind my son and was just hanging out for a little bit. And then I would go outside on my own and I'd talk, and a butterfly would float past me or a hummingbird would fly by my head. And I'm like, these are signs. He's okay. I know he's fine. He's happy. So,
Is that your heart that told you that?
oh,
But
yes,
yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
A lot of times afterwards, and for all of you listening, we miss the signs. They can seem so normal and ordinary. Oh, a gray pigeon flies, they would be, we get so caught up in our thinking. And so, what that tells me for you is you were aware on a whole nother level. You were observing while you were going through grief, and that's a huge component where all of our attention doesn't get funneled into the grief, but we have an aspect that's still aware. So I love that about you because that does allow for more to come in. And I think an intuitive hit you had to do those tarot cards, because you needed to be able to connect with something greater than your grief at the time. And you had you kind of have the speed dial through that and speed dial with Milton. And I think you had told me that your son wasn't there and that was his pet. Milton is his pet,
Yeah,
but he was there for
for
Harry's
sure.
passing.
And we had talked, my son and I had talked about it. I said, do you realize that Harry was with you because Milton couldn't be? And he said, "I thought the exact same thing." So, ha we were both on the same page. We knew, well, let me tell you, we went through the whole tsunami of emotions. We were, slammed down underwater, couldn't breathe, couldn't we had all of those things, and it took a while. My son had insomnia. He wouldn't sleep because he couldn't close his eyes without seeing what Harry looked like when he couldn't breathe. But then he got the help he needed, and he's like, "I can open my eyes and close my eyes now and see Harry how he was happy and playing with his jolly ball and being silly, like the way he always was." And that was huge. That was huge.
It's interesting after a passing, those of you that are watching, have you felt some of those things she just described? And, tell us what they are. And I certainly resonate with your description and the not being able to sleep. And, it's like we freeze that last event
Mhm.
in our minds, and our bodies kind of, uh, take note of it too, hence the reaction your body might have from something. And everybody's I wanted to share, they're all saying, "Marge, it's so hard when it's a traumatic passing." Marianne's like sending you a warm hug. And Claire says, "I'm so sorry for your loss. When it's sudden, it feels like a part of your soul has been ripped out." Um, yeah, she's like, "Thank you for coming on here." And I love how she says, "I love how in touch you are with your angels." Note to self, everybody, we need to do the same, right? I've had situations where I try to handle things, and then I call in and just finally ask for help, and it comes like you're like, "Wow, I wish I had done that an hour ago, or I wish I had done that a while ago." That you had the presence of mind to to do that, to think clearly, and what a gift you were given by that light having been shined on, that they were all together. They're all appreciating, hearing what you've gone through. And so, would you say that your tsunami, how long would you say it lasted?
A couple of months. It was hard. I I it was harder for me when I'd hear Gladys cry at nighttime because that's when she would have the zoomies with Harry, and then they would groom each other, and that part of her was gone, and that was hardest for me because she was grieving. She was going through grief as well, and I couldn't fix it, and I didn't know how to make her happy. I did something for me, but I couldn't do that for her, so that was hard for me. I would talk to her all the time, and sometimes I swear she sees Harry because she will go into the dining room and she'll start barking. That's where they would start the zoomies. And I I'm like, "Is Harry here? Do you see Harry?" And she'd look at me like, "You know what I'm seeing," and I would say, "Tell him I said hi, say it, tell him mommy loves him," and then she'd get all wiggly and happy, so I think she understood what I was saying, so
I love that, and yes, she is seeing. I mean, Harry, he's not gonna be, at the back of the room, he's gonna be front and center.
would allow.
And, that jolly ball, I is just such a precious memory you have of him and her. So, as she mourned the loss of her friend, what have you like, it's been 2 years, right, since he passed, and has she been, for that amount of time, crying every night?
Yes, every night, and I thought,
How long does it go on?
it starts right around, when it gets dark, and then, maybe 2 hours later, she's winds down, and I thought she was sundowning. I thought she had because of her age, she's 12, so I would take her to the vet, and I would talk to him about it, and he says she has no other signs of having, dementia or anything like that, so he's like, "She's grieving," and
Was it loud? Can you describe?
oh god, it's yes, it's loud whining, it's, constant, it's like it's sad, and I hate to say this, but it's annoying at the same time because I think now is it habit because she keeps doing it, but when, we try to play with her because we think wants she misses that silliness that she and Harry did, we try to run around and play with her, get her to play with her toys. She has no interest in it. She just doesn't wanna do it, and I said, "It's okay. You can cry over
What do you think, why the duration? I mean, how does she know to slow it down? Do you think it's almost like I'm feeling from her, it's kind of like it's a song. It feels like it's like, how we would wail if we were sitting on our bed just wailing for the loss of our dearest loved ones, and now it feels like it's turned into kind of like a calling a calling in of Harry's spirit kind of feel.
I think it is because as soon as I would go over to her to give her lovies, to let her know she's okay, it's okay, she would jump off the couch because that's usually where she does it. She'll be laying on the couch and she'll start crying. And I had said to my husband, I said, "Do you realize the time that she cries? It's the amount of time that she would have the zoomies and then have the grooming time with Harry. And then they would do their own thing." And I think that's the same amount of time that she does her crying. She's like done with it because that was her time with Harry. It's during the day, they would be 2 separate dogs. They would do their own thing, but it was that time of the day where they needed to be snuggly and love, be goofballs with each other, and because Harry would play with his jolly ball all day long, and she would, sunbathe because she's a sun goddess. And so that's what they would do. They would do their own thing, but I think it's the time frame when she would be with Harry that's what she's missing.
And you close your eyes, and even if you never saw her again, would you be able to recall that wailing?
Yes,
Mm.
very much so.
It comes from very deep in her. You know, we have some people there. Yeah, Carla says maybe she's dreaming and talking to him. And Lori says, my three doxies were in the bedroom when my wife had a heart attack. I did CPR on my wife. I know that affected me, but I also know it has affected our three dogs. I always wonder what I can do for them. Absolutely. They're witnesses to things too. Um, and it's difficult to often know what it is they need. So, what I would do is sit with them and ask them to tell me, show me what you need so that I can help. And that's what have you done that with?
I have. I've talked to her, and it's funny, as soon as I go over to her to give her console her or talk with her, she jumps off the couch and starts barking into the air, and I'm like, "Are you talking to him?" Kinda like, "Ha ha, I got mom to come over here," like they're in cahoots or something, and, I kinda laugh at it, but at the same time, it's like, "I got up to come give you console you, and then you just leave me." So, I laugh at it because it's something that I'm happy that she's not crying anymore. She'll jump off the couch and just be, like, barking up into the air like, "Hey, Harry, look what I did. I got her to move," kind of a thing.
You know what just dropped in as you were talking, and this is uh, so interesting. Is I heard it's time to switch gears, mom. It's time to switch gears. I also got a strong waft of a feeling that she was actually mirroring. She's been mirroring this grief that you have felt over losing him.
Yeah,
It's like she's, showing it in an outward way, whereas you, at this point, 2 years down the road, might not be in the state you were in, when it was so fresh. She's moving that energy out for you. I feel very strongly on that one. So, it's not only that, you know, she wants a companion, but she's serving in that capacity to help you move through and let go of the grief so that you can switch gears, which, that's why I think you reached out is because 'cause you're like, "Oh, well, maybe it's time for another one," right?
yeah,
And that end, when we start thinking that, it opens up a whole new set of, is it time? When, what if I make a mistake? I might be afraid to open my heart again. The whole, so tell us a little bit of how you've gotten to the point you are. We know, you've been observing her, but do you feel like, when you just described that you want go over to her to console her, that is such a sign that she's like, now, mom, it's time to switch gears. She gets you and she distracts you.
yeah,
And this grief may be still so deep in you, which is, we love them, and it's why we tear up so many years later, and when we're bringing up memories of them because that love is there, even though the connection is still there. Those pieces where we miss them, and the things we miss are the things we're most grateful for, actually.
definitely.
Right? We just, if we say, I miss this about you, we could easily turn that into, I'm so grateful I had that, or I couldn't have even identified the miss. And I was talking to a friend this weekend, and I told her, I said, what if you could go through your whole life and you never missed anybody? What would that look like? It's kind of a privilege
Yeah,
to miss, right? That we miss somebody speaks to how much we love them.
definitely.
And if somebody ever if you met somebody, "Oh, I've never missed anything in my life," and
That's
I
sad.
one yeah, but we always like we put missing in such a negative category, but it really is an expression of love coming through, and I think to help tweak our energy when we do go into those deep missing states is to pull up like, "Wait a minute. I couldn't have missed unless I really like that, and turn it into a grateful statement and turn it into a thank you so much. Thank you so much for showing me this piece. But I do feel like she has been working with you this whole time. It hasn't just been about her being sad, lonely, pitiful, and you're not being able to help her. It is literally she's taking on the energy and moving it through for you. So, and she's showing me this, like, finally somebody can see that, like, this is what she's partnering with you. Has the have the times that you've run over to her and then she's done the, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm fine," and you're like, "You know, what? I thought you're all, like, see it all." Um, and you said you laughed. When you if you watch this video, for any of you watching, did you see her energy shift when she said that? When she, said she watched her, being upset, and every time you talked about how sad she was, didn't we all resonate with it? All of us were, like, right there, really, really sad for her being sad, and then when you went over to comfort her and you described that, your energy went. That is exactly what she's trying to do. She's like, this th we gotta switch gears. We can't stay in this state." So, make sure you tell her, "Thank you for showing me what I needed to see.
I will.
I didn't even realize it." I mean, did you?
No,
That she was picking up on that?
no.
Would you would you say that you actually do still have remnants of that grief that
Oh,
you can.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, yeah. She and I'm feeling this tag team. From, like, we gotta get a little quickly, and then there's a threesome with Milton going, "We gotta get this stuff moving." Hence the reason that you felt the urge to reach out, hence the reason, we're having this conversation, and for anybody who is listening, because we've all been through some degree and some form of what you're experiencing, so, you know, at the point you now know, what are you thinking? Like, when did the idea come to you? Like, maybe we need to get her a friend. Was it 2 years ago? Was it.
Well, it was a couple of it hit me a couple of different times, but the timing was never correct because things were going on with family, we were traveling, or, it wouldn't have been a good time to bring in another dog and not be home for the dog. So, um, last year, I did a lot of traveling and, for work things and for fun, and, I wouldn't have been home. So, I didn't wanna bring in another animal and not have, have.
Practical readiness.
Right, yeah, exactly. So, we had talked it over with my kids and my husband and said, "This summer might be a good time to bring in a new a new friend for Gladys," and this is where I'm conflicted because, she's older. Do we adopt an older dog who has similar energy, or do we bring in a puppy that we can grow into and might bring out the puppy in her? Because I've seen her when she's with younger dogs. She acts so much younger, and she still has a lot of life in her, but I don't know if that is gonna be short-lived, like, is it too much energy for an older dog, or is it she needs that? That's kind of like, I don't know what to do kind of thing.
So, I don't think you're gonna find the answers in your head and in the thinking, right? Because we get really confused with all that. You've already talked about you feel like you're more practically ready now.
Mhm.
With the move, did you say so in the summer, you're thinking?
We were thinking about bringing in a a dog in the summertime, but we have, like, things like we don't know if we're going to be living here, for as long as we have no set time to leave, but I don't want to move and, do we move first and then get a dog, or do we
See, that's where you're trying to get at information that's
Yeah.
not quite available yet.
Correct.
Would you say before we start, unpacking that, would you say you're emotionally ready?
Yes. And I know my son is as well because we were looking at pictures just yesterday of Harry and Milton and Gladys and laughing and finding funny pictures, and we've gotten past the grief part,
Mm, mm.
which was huge because I told him, I said, "You've come a long way because we couldn't have done this."
Right, right. Well, make sure you thank Gladys for helping move
Oh,
that energy too.
definitely.
She'd been hard at work for 2 years.
Yes.
And, I think for you, you don't have enough info about moving, that seems kinda nebulous, and since that's the case, um, I would list all your questions that come from your mind, your logical, step by step, and then I would go a little bit deeper, and so what we know is that she's really good around younger dogs, right? And I also, before the internet played that little magic trick on us, um, I felt she has a mothering energy to me.
Yes.
See,
Very much so. Very much
and
so.
that, and you have that strong mother energy. So, as mothers, we're going to grieve very, very deeply. I mean, not any different from fathers, but it's for I've watched mother dogs grieve the loss of their puppies, or if they're taken too soon, or if they don't get the processing time, they don't have them, and they're just somebody takes them at, 3 or 4 weeks. They don't get to, uh, live their time with them that they're supposed to, the logical before they get ready to go out in the world time. And I find it interesting that Harry passed right as your daughter's going back to college, so it's at a juncture point.
Mhm.
Um, and it catapulted the family into a kind of a different direction of bringing up a lot of things and, all the PTSD, and so, I do you feel I'm gonna, like, reflect back to you so you can, reach into your intuition. So you feel that you're ready now, and you feel like your family's ready, so check that box, you can feel it, right? It's not, "I think." Okay.
No, it's definitely
Um, and you feel that you're ready to you don't have any heart guards up.
no. No heart guards up.
Right, right, and same thing for your family.
Yeah, my family, we're ready. We want
I love that. I love that. And do you feel like Gladys is ready?
yes,
Mhm.
I do.
Mhm.
I found it interesting when I'd take her on walks after Harry passed. Um, she would kinda, like, stalk other dogs, like, "What is that? Like, what's coming?" And I'd have to redirect her, and I'm like, "What is this behavior? This is bizarre." But just recently, when we've been talking in front of her about another puppy, it flipped the switch with her, and she doesn't do that anymore now on a walk, and I found that interesting, and I brought that up to my family the other day. I'm like, "She's not stalking other dogs, she's not." And it was funny because that was never behavior she ever had until after Harry passed, and I felt like, is she can't see what's coming to her? Is that why she's hunkering down a little bit? Or I couldn't figure out what her thing was, and I wondered if that was something that was a fear that what's coming at me kind of a thing, but she stopped doing it. So whatever it was, I don't know, but I think it's because we talked about getting another dog, and I think she feels more comfortable with another dog by her side.
So I'm getting lots of confirmation from people. Deanna says, saying, and this is so true, I love this point, saying you're ready announces it to the universe and calls in that new beginning. It's when we get clear, and we don't have split energy, that new being can come in, and Gladys has been hard at work, like moving it out and moving it out, and she's been doing actually quite a beautiful job because how much are we gonna let ourselves sit and wail every night?
Right.
We wouldn't. But animals are where they are, and so she had a unique, position and availability to do that to not only yours, but the family grief. And Harry was it's like, "We gotta do something." So, vocally, you know, our voices and words have energy, And I just love how she did this, and especially as we're talking and we're approaching spring, spring is always about new beginning. March says that she loves that. She said, "Gladys is telling you it's time too." She's literally showing you. Uh, and, Carla says she's not ready, but she could never turn away an animal that showed up for help, or is lost for a home. And to that, I would say, Carla, sometimes we don't know quite we're ready. It's until one does show up. I know I didn't know I was ready for another one until Katie showed up and healed my heart, started a real healing process with me. That was like sending in the big guns for sure. So I can feel, and for you, those of you who are looking and watching, can you feel there's one on the way for her? Do you feel there's one in the ethers, in the like
I
orbiting?
do. I do, and we don't care what kind of breed or, more the only thing I said to my family is, like, I'd want something a little bit smaller because I'm getting older and the dog would be with me and daddy. That's what I said to the kids. Because they would be going off on their own eventually, and I said, "I can't have the energy of an American Staffordshire Terrier because that's a lot of energy for a puppy." So it would have to be a smaller pup, but I'm not picky on what kind.
So let's do this together. Everybody watching, start feeling into the energy of this being that hasn't yet shown itself. What describe its essence? What do you feel? Now you've said you didn't want the huge variety. You got to have some a little smaller. Okay, and that's fine. Can you feel a female or a male? Is that come through yet? What's the energy feel like? Is it a soft energy? Is it a what is it?
It's a this is gonna sound funny. Uh, I feel the energy is goofy like Harry, and I've toyed with the idea of, like, a Boston Terrier because they are big, mouthy, like a American Staffordshire Terrier, goofy energy, just smaller. So, I kinda like that, and, but like I said, I don't mind whatever animal comes.
But let's stay on the flow. Can you all feel it? I feel it with you. Um, and I'm thinking, oh, you need to do this as a family exercise too. Like, it's one thing for how they look. And that's one presentation that we all get used to, the form. But what we really like is what's on the inside.
Yeah.
Right? That's who we get to know. So back to you got Gladys, and if you would describe her, she's motherly, she's deep. Um, what else is she?
She she's a healer. Whenever somebody in the family didn't feel well, she'd always put her head or lean on the area that wasn't feeling good, stomach, head, whatever. If we were lying on the couch, she'd put her head on our head or lay on our stomach. She's a healer. She takes care of us. She's motherly.
That natural, when we have that in us, we have to do something with it. We have to share it. So that would be something for her, to be able to, and she's a master healer with Harry. And I just heard Milton say, "Don't leave me out of this." I think maybe it would be a fun exercise to uh tap into Harry's energy and what were the real he's like, "What are my standouts?" And then, for Gladys and for, Milton, what were his like, those were so it's what you loved the best. It's it's what you remember. So, back to this new being that hasn't shown itself to. We have several people who are, picking up on the energy, uh so going back to it, does it feel and this isn't a opinion in the corner question, so I always hated that when I go straight to my head when somebody would ask this, so don't do that. Don't do what I do. Um, does the energy feel male or female?
Um, Sometimes it flip-flops, and I wonder if it's
Interesting.
going to be 2 that come to me.
Oh,
just one because I
interesting.
feel sometimes it's a female, but then I feel it's also
Male energy.
yeah.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
so I I wonder
Or it could be a hybrid of both where we all carry that male and female
Mhm,
energy and we channel that. Um, and in stature, you're like, I'm feeling something smaller
mhm.
and start playing with this energy as and I say this to everybody, I'm feeling, and then just say what you're feeling and get out of your head, not what I think, because that just is like the guard at the gate and knocks us out of the park. I'm feeling this, is it so you kind of had a Boston Terrier drop in. Are they funny?
They're funny. They're
They're funny.
goofy.
So
They
are you saying you would love to laugh again?
yes, most definitely. I
Um,
I want the goofy energy back in the house. I think we
Oh, I love that, and I'm getting, like, the all over nods from the others in, in your world. Definitely. So you've got a funny, being, coming into what else? What else can you feel?
very loving.
Mm. Mm.
Yeah. I feel like wants to snuggle, wants to give kisses, wants to also be the star of the show, like, "Hey, I'm here. Look at me." And but yet knows when to calm down and be snuggly, and I
So not an aloof pet.
no,
No, so not the, "You can touch me when I want," or, they gravitate toward that.
no,
And how do you see Gladys with this new being?
absolutely happy.
And what would that look like?
Playing with it, doing the play bows, running around, doing zoomies with it. And also to see her loving on her I said her, loving it. I guess it's a female. Uh,
I didn't say this, but several of the commenters are like, "Female, female," like, "Yep, yep."
so I see Gladys loving on her, or him, but I think it's gonna be a her since that came out of my mouth. Um, just just being motherly, but also teaching her the ways to do the things that she needs to know. And I'm saying the she
Okay.
now because I think
That's
that's what's gonna be.
did you all feel that energy come into the room? And that's how it happens, and that's how it happens with any animal communication at any time. You get into that your heart space, and you start getting that information, and sometimes it's down there, and it doesn't quite waft up, and then it blurts out like it did. Carolyn says she said, "I saw a female from the first time Tammy asked." Some of them are saying Scottish Terriers. I have a couple on there is like, "Yeah, I think it was a terrier too." So they're they're having this whole conversation, picking up this energy. So she's younger, and does she immediately fit in?
Yes.
How do you know it's her?
We all just
How will you know?
will feel it in our hearts.
Mm,
We'll just
mhm,
know.
mm.
I just that's how it was with Gladys when we brought her when I first saw her, I thought, "Oh, she's so cute." But I didn't think of her as family until she was playing with Harry all the time at puppy socials, because Harry would help socialize the foster dogs, and, when I saw them get along so well, it just I felt good, and my friend was fostering her, and she, in my head, it was my friend's dog, so I never thought of her as somebody we could adopt, but then when she brought her over to the house and my son was snuggling with her and he's like, "Mom, I love her." And
Aw.
yeah, it was really
Yeah, we're always the last to know. Always.
sweet.
So, a lot of more people are chiming in. Female terrier mix. Somebody said West Highland white terrier. Somebody said gray. So, I would totally play with this energy because obviously all the pieces, you got you're emotionally ready. We can feel it. You can feel it. You're practically ready. You don't quite know the whole moving thing, but I wouldn't worry so much about that piece because when the energy is meant to come in, when that soul is meant to show up, they will, and everything will fall in place with everything else. Um, so now let me ask you this, and let me ask everybody, since we got this energy going, um, does it feel you can usually feel energy coming closer to you. And I always say it's like when you look out on the ocean, you see the waves, right? So you can't really see the definition of the waves. They're all the exact, but as they come closer, you can actually see them. And that's the way energy works. So you can feel there's some change coming. You don't quite know what it is. And as it moves closer to you, you can start to then define. What happens usually is the mind tries to figure it out when it's way over there. Um, so, do you feel like can you get a feel of is it you think it's this week?
I heard July in my head.
So you do have a sense of timing. How interesting is that because you had decided it was summer? Did you decide it was going to be summer from a logical standpoint? It just felt like, yeah, it's gonna be summer.
I think well, also because my daughter graduates college, so she'd be coming home in the middle of June, but I just felt like I heard July,
Ah,
so
well, let's keep now here's what I would do, and everybody listen to this because this is a great thing to help you guide your life by. Um, keep checking the pulse of that. Keep checking to see if does that still feel like it's July or is it feeling like it's closer? Keep practicing with that. That's a wonderful way to practice your intuition, and it gets very fine-tuned because energy shifts. What we feel out here and we have in our heads, okay, it's then that can change, and if we don't keep kind of track on the pulse of it, we can be super surprised because we thought it was coming excuse me, I thought it was out there. We have several of them are saying, "Oh, Mars says the hair on the back of her neck is rising." She said, "Oh, it'll be soon." And see, just saying, we just, in this time together, and I would think everybody can feel it. Can you feel we stirred it up?
I
Like
got goosebumps right now, so I know it's gonna happen, I just don't know when.
Mm, that's why I would play with this energy of because it's such a light, fun energy of, "Oh, I'm so ready. I would love to have you come in. Please show me who you are.
Yeah,
Please show me who you are ahead of time." And then ask your sign, "What does it feel like, this one will feel like? What do you think? What will the personality be? How will we notice?" Oh, yes. Deanna said, "Oh, yeah, we opened the door. Sorry."
so good.
Um, but we will do the same for you because now we're going to, we'll finish our time together and we're going to go about our day, but then we're all going to be still feeling this. You watch. You watch. Is how I go on a bike ride after something like this and I have more like info dropping in. Um, so I definitely um can't wait to see what unfolds. And as yeah, it's like, "Alrighty then, special delivery," and we are powerful energy conduits, all of us, and when we gather like this, we create, more of that, and it ripples out into the world, so, I really, really appreciate you coming on because you have taken us from this journey of such tragedy to hope and, you know, possibility. And you've shared, the reality of what that looks like. And I am so appreciative of your ability to articulate and put that into words. And the group, because now we're this group, has a request. Excuse me. Could you please come back on when the new baby arrives?
Definitely, definitely, I'd love to.
Because we're gonna all want to know how that unfolded. Give us the deets, like tell us all about it. Because this now is a cliffhanger. We must know what the next chapter, the sequel is. And, we didn't ask about names, and I didn't have time to, like, ping you all for names, but if you would, if any names have come in, drop them in the comments. And, as people watch the replays, please drop your hits in. We're all contributing to this wonderful high frequency that we all benefit from.
I love that.
I just
You,
so
everybody.
I so appreciate you being here. Thank you all. Going through the little internet drop, but apparently Spirit had us redirected so that we could get just to this. See, we never know.
Never know.
Uh, Thank you again, and I will see you next month. And I have it in front of me. I think it's the 5th of March. In the meantime, have a great week and keep using your intuition.